Yeah, trying to make.
Hello, Mr. Long. Thank you for giving up your time for this interview for us. We really appreciate it.
Oh no, thank you guys for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Okay, can you just tell me a little bit about what you do at Burns and McDonnell?
So what I do, I originally started as just doing drafting, the CAD work, and then I have kind of moved up to where now I do a lot of the kind of engineering work. They have what's called a designer at Burns and McDonnell. So basically, you do the drafting for a while, and then you learn some of the engineering stuff that goes on, and then you're able to start doing some of that and kind of move away from just the drafting. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Okay. Can you tell me how did you get there in your career?
So basically, once I started there, I started as a co-op, so I was still getting my CAD certificate, and then while I was doing that, I was just picking up, some of the drafting marks. So basically, an engineer will give you a blueprint that has certain marks on it, and then I would do that work on the computer and pick that up, and then give it back to them, and they would check it. And then as that went on, I started asking more questions about why they were marking certain things and how things worked. And then as I kept asking more questions, they would kind of teach me more stuff, and then that just kind of kept evolving to where I'm at now. So just continuing to ask questions and work through that.
Okay. When you think about your daily work, what's your favorite part of your job? Is there anything that's more enjoyable than another, or what?
Um, so with a lot of the stuff, I've had a lot of opportunities to work with 3D, some of like the modeling and different scan. They'll take something and scan a whole room, and then it gives you a big generated model. I like working with that stuff a lot. It's really interesting. I think the whole job, the best thing about all of it is it's not the same thing every day. It's always different. There's different projects and different things to work on. So there's a lot of change in it. So it's not just the same thing over and over again every day.
Okay. Um, what was your very first job? Is there anything that you learned from that experience wise that helped you later on?
My very first job was I bagged groceries at a Price Chopper. So I just stood at the end of the line and the groceries would come and I would put them all in the bag. And I think that helped me learn how to deal with some people that weren't as nice because some people were very particular about how things went into a bag. Um, so I think just learning that not everybody's going to be nice all the time, and finding ways to work through that, especially even with people that you work with, and whether it's other clients or customers, depending on your job.
Okay. What did your educational pathway look like?
So in high school and kind of out of high school, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I had some ideas, but it's kind of hard to know then exactly what you're going for. Some people do, and that's really awesome. I didn't, so I kind of had some other different jobs in different industries, and then I was in construction for a while, and then that was very physically tasking. So I basically wanted to get into something that was kind of in the office and on computers, and I'd always really liked computers. So I happened to look into, you know, computer aided drafting and how that works and what you needed for it. And you really only need a certificate. So you can go to a community college, and then for basically you take classes for around a year. It's a certain amount of credit hours, and then you have that and you can go do the work. So I actually, while I got on as a co-op at Burns and McDonnell, while I was doing my schooling, I was working with Burns and McDonnell through that. So I actually was able to just get the CAD certificate and not have to have a big 4-year degree or go through all the other extra courses and stuff. So it was basically just went and got that and was able to get into it. So
Okay. What is your definition of success?
um, I think that can look different for obviously like a lot of people. For me, I think it would be being happy with where you're at and what you're doing. I think that is really the biggest measure of it, is that you're happy with what you're doing, and you're not miserable. Obviously, you're able to, have everything you need as far as salary wise and everything else. But really, I think the most important thing is that you enjoy what you're doing, because otherwise, you're just going to be miserable every day, and nobody likes that. So
Okay. And then last question, what can students do now to help them prepare to get a job in this field in the future?
I think now, even pretty much any of the engineering professions, or even if you're looking at drafting and stuff like that, there's a whole lot of resources um, online that you can go and download free software to look into. Some of the and there's some guides that can kind of show you, but I think playing around with some of the software and stuff and seeing if you kind of like it, and also just remembering, there's a lot of benefits to, getting 4-year degrees, and certain fields require that, but there are other options, as far as getting different certificates and things to be able to get into certain jobs that you want to do. I think that was a key thing for me, is I didn't really understand that. If I would have known I could have gotten the certificate right out of high school, I would have, and I would have been way ahead of the game on some of this stuff. So I think mainly, and it's really hard to know exactly what you want to do, for the rest of your life in high school. It's just hard to do. So keeping your options open and kind of looking into what you want to do, I think would be the biggest help. And there is a lot of things online now on YouTube and everything else to go look into and kind of play around with and get a head start on a lot of the stuff.
Okay, well, I think that's everything. Thank you so much for giving your time and answering all these questions. It was great to meet you and
Yeah,
listen.
you too. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye.